Hey guys, Robert and Ingrid here. First time in quite a while.
I've been very busy. I
Yep.
had a vacation where I headed up to the New York and New Jersey area for the eclipse to visit some of my D&D friends, and I recently closed on a condo, so I've been going to be moving soon, so I've been doing a lot of preparation for that. Translation, I've been very tired.
Yep, and then work, all that, add in all that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, she and I, you already saw my review, but yeah, she is also seeing Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire, and it's fitting for us to give our thoughts on it. Now, heads up, at the tagline of each video, because I'm going to then release this in three different videos, but the other two are going to be unlisted or just specifically for the playlist, because I don't want to have to rename all, just repost it 3 times and rename it all.
We got enough of that with the number of times we reviewed the original Godzilla vs. Kong and the Monsterverse. We're not doing that again.
So instead, we're going to give our main thoughts, and at the very end, we're going to each give our thoughts about how it related to each character of the three characters we've done retrospectives on. Wait, is it supposed to be 2? We'll get there. But yeah, the new Empire. Let me get off the bat, and this is saying that now, well, after the fact now, it's on par with GVK.
It was very much a lot of fun, and I say it was definitely a different experience to be viewing it in the theater with 2 of my friends who are not as familiar with the franchise.
Yep, I watched it with my brother, who doesn't really care. He does enjoy, having fun, but yeah, it was a bit different than seeing it on Max. With GVK.
Actually getting to see it in theaters for once.
Yep, but there's a lot that works. There's a lot that I feel is lacking. There's nothing bad. I will say this. Nothing bad.
Yeah, nothing was so really egregious. It's just, okay, there are some elements that could have been better, but it's nothing that would make you want to walk out of the theater or anything.
Unless you're a petty fan.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah.
It was, I'll just get away. It was dumb fun in the best way.
Yes,
there's been a lot of the Monsterverse.
We've been eating real good with Godzilla lately, both with the fine dining that was -1 and the comfort diner food that is this movie. Both are great. Both are very good.
Are great. That's the key word there. Both are great.
And you know what they both have in common? Both Godzillas are inspired by their director's cats, which I find to be absolutely wonderful.
Oh yeah, especially that bit where you just
so much sense. You're flapping at the Coliseum.
I saw it. So I saw him Ingrid would pop at that. She's gonna pop at that. And during that, yeah, he admits, yep, based off his cat. But yeah, so we open up now. Let's be honest, this is Kong's movie again.
Yes, but I'd say they did a really good job with him here, especially since most of his story was not told with dialogue at all.
Well, that was the most impressive part of this movie. Yeah, this exemplary went up a step even beyond what was done with GVK with the monster. Here, you had so much where you didn't know. Although, be honest, you were thinking Kratos at some point during the movie, didn't you? From God of War?
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, that's kind of hard to ignore.
I kept thinking him going, boy, as he walked with the axe, having that big beard of his.
Yeah, but it's not in a bad way. I feel it's a really good direction to take Kong's arc in.
Oh yeah, giving him a Kong Jr. that's not really Junior.
But also a fantastic little character in his own right. I thought Kong Jr. in this was absolutely great.
Oh, and he does have a name. He does actually have a name. Let me look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, it would be good to know his actual name.
And by the way, I do think a lot of the implication is he is one of the offspring of the Scar King.
I mean, that would make a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah, didn't you get that vibe too?
I mean...
Zuko! Zuko's his name. But yeah, so here, now let's be honest. In GVK, the Kong stuff, human plot was the best part. And aside from the podcasting guy, they nixed everything else from the Godzilla side properly, if you ask me. I'm sorry. Billy, whatever her name is, number 11 from Stranger Things, wasn't doing it her second time around that well.
Mm-hmm. But we do have a new fun addition to the human cast that I really enjoyed. Tanner.
Yep. Or Trapper.
Trapper, or whatever his name was. It was some, both of us were fairly close enough, but you know who I mean. It's just like, I love how they introduced him as being like a vet for the kaiju and just showing that like he's a character that likes to have a little bit of fun. He's got the diegetic soundtrack like in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
But it's like you can tell that he's a competent character as well as a bit silly. I feel like one of the scenes that really stood out with them is when they were in the Hollow Earth, and there's this one guy who was super insistent that
that guy.
I'm not picking anything up with my heat signal, and like Tanner's just saying, nope, there are still some dangerous things down there, and then he gets eaten by the equivalent of a mutant Venus flytrap, and it's just like, yeah, that's how you get a really good character who's a little bit quirky and humorous, but is also like clearly very knowledgeable on the plot. Like, it's like, hey, I know a lot about all of this weird megafauna that's going on.
Can we also agree Bernie was better here than he was in the last movie?
Yeah, Bernie was a lot better here because they got him to go through a little bit of character development where he's just like, he was so fixated on getting stuff related to like his podcast and whatnot, but it's like he actually gets to the Hollow Earth and now he's a little bit humbled by everything he's seen. Where it's like, previously it was just this theoretical project, but now he's just like, wow, do I really want to spoil this?
Yeah, because at first he wants to be, he just, initially, it's the whole notion of going like, I want to be recognized, but then it's like, do you really need it? Is this something you want to be recognized for?
Yeah, it's just like, do you really want to be the person that spoils the magic of this place?
Mm-hmm.
Really what you want? And it's just like, yeah, that's a really good direction to take it.
So, the backstory, but leading up to all this. Skarking was the one that led the Kongs against Godzilla. Now, wasn't it implied it was against the whole Godzilla SARS? But here they make it seem like it was just Godzilla.
I think they might have left that sort of deliberately open. Like, if there's more than one Godzilla, they can bring it in, but Godzilla is sort of like enough of a monster on its own that it could really work either way.
Yeah, but they're implying Godzilla's older than we thought when they make a statement like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they got banished underground, and then just randomly out of the blue, well, not randomly, Kong indirectly caused an opening to occur because he was trapping a bunch of some other monsters that were chasing him, and so he could eat.
Mm-hmm.
So through that, it led to a bigger opening in that cavern, which then led him to going down further into the Hollow Earth, where he eventually found Zuko. And boy, Zuko was a little shit.
He is a little shit, and it's great.
Because he fights him. At first, I'm just like, is this a kid or just a miniature, adult? But they're like, no, it's a kid. But the way he acted with the others, which I think were his bodyguards.
Yeah.
You get that vibe? They were his bodyguards?
It's not a bad conclusion to draw.
Yeah, but eventually, Kong, he leads Kong, but you can still tell he's like, as soon as I get a chance, I'm bolting. Which, again, don't blame him. Now, throughout all this, Godzilla was lacking in this movie, I hate to say.
Yeah, Godzilla kind of was more just rah in this one. I would have really liked to see his match with Tiamat go on a bit longer, because that looks like it had a really interesting premise, and then she kind of just gets iced in a couple of scenes. And
what an ass, though, for Godzilla. Godzilla was an ass, big time. This is the most asshole she's been. This is right up. This is Terra Mecha Godzilla type of Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Which right down to T-Mac felt so much like a cross between Varan and Titanosaur.
Which I didn't catch. I didn't make that connection myself, but I can see why you would think that.
Yeah, but basically Godzilla gets, right after the opening happens, Godzilla says some kind of message, so he basically realizes, well, gotta power up.
Mm-hmm.
But again, its whole subplot, it doesn't really amount to much because his new power doesn't really help much at the end.
Yeah, it did kind of seem like it was
felt
just,
like it was just
more of a visual upgrade.
And it felt like it was just trying to give him something to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he just stomps around, he goes and absorbs a nuclear power plant. Well, again, I will say though, I did love when Kong, before that, when he got climbed out because his tooth got infected and everything, I just love how Andrews was great in this. I loved how she was all like, we gotta hurry before Godzilla senses him. I'm like, I love that. I mean, he doesn't sense him at that moment, but I love this whole idea that they're on a ticking time, clock.
And sometimes, like, that little bit of pressure is really needed to kind of get a plot going that might not otherwise happen at a very speedy pace.
And it sets up for later. It sets up for later, too. But yeah, so anyway, Kong is then down there. He makes his way through and eventually meets all the others. And we see how much of a monster that the Scar King is. He is a bastard.
He's a bastard affectionate. Like, they really sold us through no dialogue that this is the kind of guy that really got his way by being really, like, manipulative and, like, playing, like, the social structure. Like, hey, look at this guy. Isn't he really weak and lame? Come on, everybody laugh at him.
But then when Zuko kept laughing, he's like, and then he knocks the caregiver or mother, whichever that other ape was into the lava. Like,
I also like how they established that, like, the Scar isn't necessarily there because he's necessarily the most powerful of the Kongs.
No, he's not even.
Yeah, he's just really good at having a silver tongue and manipulating people to do what he wants. And the moment he gets that control, moment he loses that, he's basically dead meat. But it's like, he's definitely a very good contrast to Kong, whereas Kong's kind of more like brute force strength. He's kind of like more wily and clever.
That, and the Scar King also has access to what was its name?
Shimo, which I originally misheard as Shiva, since that's kind of like the I summoned from Final Fantasy, but it's just like, okay, it was 2 letters off. I can understand why I misheard that.
But because of Shimo that he has all this power, because he has this whip with bone whip with the crystal attached to it, which he would then hold like, hee.
Yeah, and then basically
I love that smile.
Yeah, to try to torment Shimo and basically get her to do his bidding by setting her off with huge agonizing pain. It's just like, you know what? I can believe a creature like this exists because we already have Godzilla. Why wouldn't there be other megafauna species like him?
Now, notice, to make it very, now at the same time, Gia was perfect in this. She was adorable. Her and Andrews are going, they find the rest of her tribe, or the original versions of her tribe. Turned out they came from the Hollow Earth.
Which makes a lot of sense, honestly. It's just like, okay, that explains why we didn't see them in the plot up until now, and it doesn't feel forced.
Now,
because if you were going to run away from the surface and you knew that place's existence, where the frick else would you go?
Exactly. Now, of course, these aren't her original people. They're wiped out. They're gone. They're still gone. But of course, Andrews feels like, and I thought the way they handled it this could have been so botched.
I feel like they really managed to handle this plot line really well, actually.
Yeah, she's already ready to let her go, and then is shocked when she's not letting go. It's crazy, this whole thing going right into it. She's like, I'm just waiting for the inevitable. I'm waiting for the inevitable. I'm going to go be with my people. And then it's like, wait, you're not? That I liked, because it felt like
I liked that a lot too.
Yeah, but then at the same time now they sent out a message, which is why Kong is Godzilla is reacting. Although it's made clear that simply they need help. So Godzilla saying about needing help means he has to get a power up. That I don't get that. That I don't get.
Yeah, that feels more like Godzilla used it as an excuse to do that rather than something that was strictly necessary for him to do.
Yeah, because first he absorbs from a French nuclear power plant. Then he deals with Tiamat and goes into where all this latent solar type of, like latent radiation from the sun has been gathered on our planet, and he absorbs all of it. Which makes it pink. And but then Kong, yes, things don't go well for him. He's trying to run back with Zuko's help and everything, and then eventually makes it to where the tribes are, and he's not doing well. His arm has been frozen pretty much. So they didn't realize we were working on a way of augmenting Kong. it didn't get that much further than a gauntlet, which happens to be the arm that got frozen. Convenient.
Convenient, but I can sort of let that slide. I've seen worse contrivances than that.
Oh, yeah. I'm just making fun of it.
Yeah.
But and then he puts it on, and then he realizes, I gotta go get Godzilla. I can't do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
And, but then at the same time, turns out this tribe is related to Mothra. Now this, I both liked it, and I'm torn on it, because they were already setting up the twins.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that one too, but at the same time, when I heard the alternative plan, it does kind of work, but it could have been a lot cleaner. At least Mother doesn't die this time.
Oh, yeah. Now, people kept saying, oh, it was going to do this, but then the test screens failed. No. They were always going to go for Mothra, but they had a backup in case Toho said no-ho. And that was what the test screening saw, but they didn't change it because of the test screening. It was the opposite way.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
But
it's like, you know how people can be with IPs sometimes. It helps to have a backup so you don't have to throw all that work away.
And it turns out, so Gia, it's like only people from the Skull Island tribe are able to bring her back. Okay. Again, I don't mind connected to Gia, but when you were setting up the obvious thing with the twins, that was so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, it's really messy to just kind of abandon that particular plot line. But if that weren't in the picture, I really like this.
Yeah, again, on its own, it's fine. In the Cross the Greater Monsterverse, it's a problem. It just feels like they're playing hot and loose with their own lore.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understand, but I'm not always a fan of when places do that.
Yeah, it's just some stuff ends up getting lost in production limbo. I get it. It doesn't mean I really like it. That being said, I would leave the door open to them pulling a twist like, hey, this is actually this universe's version of Mothra Leo instead. Or whatever.
Or something like that. And that's the other thing also. They set up there was another egg.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they do it this way. It's like, what? Is it anything that's in the credits no longer counts as canon?
I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, again, Mothra I loved her being there, but it was also a big nitpick. But then, I love that when Kong comes out there and calls for Godzilla. I didn't love that moment when Godzilla's like, Kong's like, wait, roar!
That was a very entertaining scene.
That was my favorite moment. Just like, wait, just listen, we gotta go down. And then Kong knocks him down. He's like, okay, I'll drag you in. And Godzilla's like, the hell you are. I love that. That was of the best, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that was very, very good comedic acting.
Again, because when you didn't even need to have words, all you needed was Godzilla and Kong being able to like, wait, just having his hand out like that, like, wait,
stop, this isn't what you think.
And of course, Godzilla's like, I warned you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was like, I warned you. And again, then Mothra shows up, and as soon as Mothra shows up, Godzilla stops.
Now, boys.
Yeah, now, basically, from what I understand, they're implying, now they don't flat out say it, but it's from my definition, Mothra is Wonder Woman. Everyone loves Wonder Woman.
I mean, that's not wrong.
Yep, is that the best way you think to look at her? It's like, everyone loves Wonder Woman.
There are certainly far worse ways you could use to describe it.
Yep. Oh, there was a bit of fan art I'm trying to find that was adorable. Hold on.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of Mothzilla shitty fan art that ended up happening after this movie, which I'm very amused by.
Oh, agreed. It just, again, I mean, it was already started with King of the Monsters, just here really amped it up. And I gotta say, again, it's quite obvious that's not what this is. It's not a shit, they're in love or anything. He respects her.
People are having their own fun with it, and if they're not hurting anybody, then I'd say let them have their fun with it.
Oh, exactly. But there was one in particular I'm trying to find where it was like, what people think I'm going to do, where it's like, oh, what I really think. And it's basically Mothra chewing him out there like, hey, don't give me that look. What have you done since I've been gone? No, no. And I'm just like, and he's just all looking at her loving, like, you don't get to look at me like that. I'm just like, that's adorable. Because that's kind of the vibe I would get from Monster vs. Mothra, when she's like, what have you been doing since I've been gone?
Yeah, it's just like, I left for 5 minutes and this is what you've done.
You become an asshole? You've become an asshole? But yeah, so basically Mothra shows up and Godzilla's like, okay, I'll help. And then Mothra doesn't do much else throughout the rest of the movie.
Unfortunately. But like I said, at least she doesn't die.
At least she doesn't die, exactly. But yeah, which eventually, so Godzilla is versus Shimo and Kong versus the Scar King, which then led to a great fight because apparently where the tribe is, they have these giant crystals that can shift the gravity, which makes moving things easier. Everything's easier and all that. But if they do it, I love it. Does that, and then it leads into they lead up and back onto the surface. And wasn't it funny that Godzilla X Kong is Shimo, an ice kaiju, and it came out a week after Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
That's funny.
It is, but yeah, it leads to them fighting up there, and then they eventually destroy. Zuko comes up with the axe and shatters the gem.
Which I thought was a fantastic way to make his moment. Like, I've had enough of this BS.
Yeah, especially like, screw you, Dad! if that is his dad. Yep. And soon as they realize that the Godzilla holds him up, Kong holds him up and Shimo freezes him. That was great. Let Shimo fight back. I'm free!
Karma's a bitch!
You can so see the Scar King was like, oh, shit!
Yep, I'm screwed now.
I am so screwed. And yep. And thus Kong is now King Kong. He is finally King Kong. Because he is now king of the apes. The giant apes. He goes back there. Godzilla's just like, I'm going to go back, rain down. Mothra is staying in the hollowed earth. Turns out she's the protector of the portals.
Which makes a lot of sense. She's the mediator between the two. Exactly.
And Gia decides to stay with Andrew still. And Andrew is so happy about it. And that's pretty much it. Again, not the perfect movie. In fact, after going over it, I would say while it's on par with GHK, it might be like a ranking or two below it still. If I was to rank it.
It's still a very good movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was not bad.
Oh, it wasn't. This was the major, massive lore building movie.
Yeah, which I can't wait to see how they pay off with it next time.
Which supposedly they're going to put. Godzilla is going to be the one. Wingrat wants Godzilla to be the focus and bring in aliens.
I like this plan.
Maybe Destroyer.
I would be for this plan.
Yep, but I would say if there's other Godzilla stars out there, I'm just going to keep thinking back to their original plans of killing Godzilla. Remember, with the female one, takes him there, boom, blows up. We dodged the bullet with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I that's what I am honestly hoping for. It's Godzilla, it's Godzilla, being the focus, being the king for once, while Kong is too busy, being king, of his domain. And yeah, a funny thing about the director. Did you know that originally he was going to direct a Kong movie before it went over to Peter Jackson?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's like, wow, what a coincidence. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad he got his chance eventually. Yep.
So now this is where we're going to go into how it is for each character. First, we're going to start with Godzilla. Godzilla is a Godzilla film. If I was to rank this, like I said, it'd be a few ranks down from GVK for Godzilla on his own.
Yeah.
For Godzilla, because he doesn't amount to much in this movie, aside from getting the power upgrade, killing Tiamat and that other the spider one.
Yeah, his presence in this one felt more like setup than he was an integral part of the plot.
Exactly. Although again, the moment with him and Kong, great. But and oh yeah, them was great. I'm charging forward. But for a Godzilla movie, again, and that's for this on our the Godzilla retrospective portion of of this video. Yeah, not the greatest.
Yeah.
Again, the movie overall is fine.
It's just that Godzilla is not one of the stronger parts of this movie, which is unfortunate, but I mean...
And you guys already know I'm not a big fan of asshole Godzilla.
Yeah.
And again, once I made the comparison to Tiamat, the Titanosaurus, I'm just like, it's the exact same thing!
Uh-huh.
Yep. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Okay, now for the Kong portion of this, top mark.
This is some of the best Kong we've ever seen.
Exactly. In fact, I put it at number 1.
Yeah, it might be Kong's best outing.
Better than Kong Skull Island.
Because it got real deep into his lore and his connections with his people, and getting a chance to really stand against the big man. This was
his movie all the way through. Again, it's just him having such this curiosity, but one thing I did like it. Yes, he was happy to see his people, but he's not like, oh my god, I'm with my people. He's like, okay, what's going on here? I love that. He has this moment of skepticism. Yes, it's what he wants, but he's not dumb enough to be especially after fighting those other guys, he's like, okay, what kind of apes are these? I want to see for myself. Because they attacked me first. Would you agree with that? Did it feel that way?
Yeah, it's just yeah, I would want to see that, but it's I'd rather not go throwing myself into this blindly, especially after what's happened so far.
Again, brain in his head. I love that. And again, just this whole, the Kratos comparison, come boy, again, was just so awesome. And again, just so much about this without having to hear him speak, without having to, just by looking at him, we got so much about it. Again, especially that moment with Godzilla, wait, we gotta go. And again, just him grabbing Godzilla, all right, I'll drag you in. Again, you don't need words. You don't need words for him. And even when he's riding Shimo back to the others, you could tell it's he's respecting Shimo. It's she's his steed, not his slave. Is that one way of looking at it?
Yeah, or it's just hey, you saved my life, so now I'm going to help you out. Exactly.
Plus, it'll still, if he's kind to her, he'll probably have a similar dynamic to Scar King that no one will mess with him if he doesn't want to deal with her wrath. But now today, I will force you. It's nope, you owe me one. But yeah, so for Kong, again, this was Kong's movie, through and through. Oh yeah, let's see you guys on the next one. Take care. Okay, for the Mothra one, less than even Godzilla, I hate to say. This is not Rebirth of Mothra too bad, but
it's definitely one of Mothra's weaker outings. One of the strongest things I can say is that she doesn't die in this one.
Which is the second time we've had to deal with, second time Mothra proper has not died. Because the other one was, of course, the Heisei era. But I would say this felt almost, I hate to say this felt on par with Ebera. Would you feel that, as far as how useful she was? She might have been a bit more useful than she was in Ebera, but not by much. You know what I mean? It's again, glad she's back.
Was there.
Again, glad she was back. I am so glad she was back, but I'd rather she wasn't.
Yeah, it would have been better if it was a case where they really strongly wanted to have her there, rather than a case of we'd like to have her there, but here's this backup plan we have just in case.
Yeah, again, I get the backup. Because
you know how end up resulting in a little bit more distance. Like they felt like they couldn't really commit to it fully, and that's something you can't really fully take out of that. I'm hoping that now that she's back, we'll get to see a stronger showing from her, especially if they end up going down the route of taking on a threat from space, where Godzilla gets to be the DPS and she gets to be the support or something.
Now, I would like to still see a bit more with Godzilla and Mothra working together, because that I liked.
Yeah, that is really good, and I feel like if they see all the outpouring of love for Mothra and Godzilla, they are going to go in that direction, or at least if they know what they're doing, they should go in that direction. King and Queen, yeah.
Yeah, which again, I do love that. She's the queen of the monsters. She always has been. She's the Wonder Woman, he's the Superman. Even though he's more of a Batman in personality.
Yeah.
But he is Superman in everywhere else, just like and Kong's the Batman, even though he's a bit more Superman in personality. I'm talking about as far as the power dynamic goes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that, but it's just like, just let my gal have a little bit more space the next time we have a MonsterVerse movie. Let Godzilla and Mothra both have a little bit more fun next time.
Exactly. And again, because it felt like, again, if she had helped out more during the fight, that would have been fine, but she didn't. She shot her with some webbing here and there, but other than that, not really. I don't know what else to say about that. Again, not the weakest. This is not Rebirth of Mothra 2.
But definitely most of the outings with Mothra have been stronger.
When I'm thinking she is in the range of Sea Monster, Ebera, you know you have a problem.
Yeah.
Because that, again, it's not that as bad as it, but it's in that range where it's like, for a Mothra outing, I got to give it a thumbs down. Again, I'm glad she's back. She's back. I'm glad it gave the gravitas of it, but the fact
that it's do next time.
And again, the fact it's threw in the face of so much what they built up already in Kingdom of the Monsters. That's what bothers me the most. Oh, you know what? We'll do it afterwards when I get it down. But yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. By the way, little addendum I want to make. The music stinks in these movies lately.
I didn't really notice the music all that much, except when Tanner had his radio on.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it was really forgettable.
And I'm sorry, Chunky XL, making it very clear, it's kind of obvious. He's not a fan of Godzilla. He's not. Not when you have these generic tunes and everything. I'm sorry, the music is just, like you said, you didn't even register it.
Yeah, it's just like, I can't tell you anything about the music from this movie other than those parts which were licensed from somewhere else.
Bring Bear back, because at least with Bear, yes, it's Godzilla's actual music, but at the same time, it's Ikafube's music, but at the same time, at least you remember it, at least it's connected to Godzilla. It's like, if Junkie is not going to give us a memorable theme, then why the hell is he even here?
Someone forgot about the importance of leitmotifs.
Exactly. It's like, look at with a lot of superhero movies, you know what I mean? And granted, they seem to have dropped off in getting us one too, but some of them you still have, like, remember Spider-Man, Batman, and even the Raimi Spider-Man, you somewhat remember some of the music. Or X-Men. Some of those have some themes that you might, if once you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, I affiliate with that. But it feels like no one does it anymore, but it's egregious when you have something like Godzilla having one for so long, and you have a composer who just doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, I mean, like, I collect a lot of video game soundtracks, and one of the things I train my ear to listen for is leitmotifs. So when I don't hear them, it feels wrong.
And he's the same guy who's composing the Sonic movies, and it's the exact same issue there.
Yeah.
And he's giving the exact same statement. No one wants to hear the Japanese music. No one wants to hear the video game music. No, you don't want it.
To the particular symphony they decided on for the Tokyo Olympics, where it was all video game music. Not relevant, my ass.
Exactly. And the fact is, I'm betting he's grumbling that he's forced to have to use live and learn for the third movie. You want to bet he is probably grumbling like, I don't want to have to use this from the game. Because you know everyone, they know if they don't have live and learn in the third movie, there's going to be riots.
Hmm.
You know, from Sonic Adventure 2, because Shadow's in it.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
Yep. And by the way, we should get around to Knuckles eventually.
Yeah, it's just...
No, not now. I just said eventually. I said eventually.
Alrighty then.
I'm not trying to push you. But yeah, so I'll tack this on to each of the other ones as music talk, but I just had to bring it up because it's been bothering me lately, especially after he made that statement. I'm like, screw you. I'm sorry. If you were a composer, be that dismissive, it's then like, why the hell are you even here?
Yeah, it's just like, you're not even having any fun, dear God.
Exactly. But yep. See you guys later.